Okay. All right, sorry about that, Instagram. Well, guys, we're getting Carson Pickett back in. The good thing is we're still 2 minutes from noon, so we're not exactly, I'm not late technically. What's up, Mateo? Okay, people are starting to join here. Hopefully I can get Carson in here again. That's what I'm hoping for. Trying to figure it out. They're telling more followers to join our video. Uh-oh. Facebook, you got to tell me when stuff like this happens. You really got to help me out. Luke, thanks for joining on Facebook. You were just on Instagram. We're getting Instagram back up here shortly. Trying to figure out technology. Okay. All right, we're back killing it over here. Do we got Carson on over here? Okay. Well, while I'm waiting on Carson, hopefully we can get it going where I can get her to join me again because she is a super awesome person. She plays for the Orlando Pride, has one arm, a huge following from the soccer community and the Limb Different community. Just a very inspirational person, very kind and sweet person. I'm really excited to hear her story, share that with you guys, share some updates with you on what I'm working on for Nubbability. I might even give you guys a sneak peek of what Coach Sam has been doing during this whole quarantine. So hopefully we'll have that for you hopefully we'll have that available to all of our kids, and not even all of our kids, but to kids who've never been to Nubbability before, maybe the kids in other countries. So anybody in another country who has an amputee or knows amputees, this is a way for your kids to get involved with Nubbability and for us to serve those kids in a way we never have. I apologize for the baby face. Last night I thought it was hilarious to take my facial hair and shave it into different types of facial hair. Oh, Carson's on. Here we go. All right. Let's see if we can do it. Works, guys. Fingers crossed. Waiting for Carson. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Have you been watching me struggle with technology this morning?
Yes, a little bit, but I wouldn't call it a struggle. It's probably Instagram's fault, not yours.
I wish I could say that, but I definitely feel like it was my fault. There's 100%. Facebook, as you see, well, why is it not running on my TV? Oh, there she is. There she is, Facebook. It's going to be a little bit delayed on the TV, but so basically what we have here, Carson, I'll show you my little technology setup here. So you got the iPad with Facebook Live.
Perfect.
And then a computer over here launching a screen up there. So
nice. Look at you.
Hey, come a long way since dial-up internet. So we're getting better and better. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And, I really love that you took the opportunity to talk to Julie and I last week. And I'm excited to get to learn a little bit more about your story. I see you're wearing the Florida State.
Yes.
Florida State hoodie. And so we're definitely going to talk about that. But, man, I'm just really happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to talk some more about my story and to share some ideas and thoughts. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So briefly tell everybody, what was it like growing up as Carson Pickett?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, my parents, it's hard because nowadays, you have social media and things like that. So there's two sort of ways to go about raising your kid, I think, with a limb difference. And my parents didn't have social media, so we weren't able to reach out to different athletes who have done stuff before me. So they taught me that I was just like everyone else. So instead of saying, you have one arm, so maybe, you need to do things this way or you need to be a little more cautious, they were like full throttle. You're just like everyone else and you're going to be the exact same. I think they taught me, they didn't want me to stand out. So I never had, excuse me, I never had an attitude that was like, oh, look at me, I'm different type thing. So growing up that way, I liked it and I preferred that way just because I do still think that I'm just like everyone else as far as abilities and things like that. But now it's just being more mature and knowing that I can reach people through having one arm and things like that. So yeah, growing up was pretty I'd say easy for me just because my parents put me in a small private school. So I feel like I had a lot of friends and a good circle. So I didn't really get bullied and things like that. I was pretty lucky in that sense. But sports obviously was a little different. And I didn't get bullied there, but people would look at you and I'm sure like thoughts would be like, oh, well, she has one arm. It'll be easy to get by her. Or I'm just going to hit it to her left-hand side because I played tennis. So if they said, I'll hit it to her left-hand side, then that's something that I couldn't control. And I think that bothered me a little was just knowing that they weren't saying things to my face, but the unknown of what they were thinking or what they were saying probably bothered me in sports growing up. But again, I didn't really have any like struggles and I didn't get bullied, and there's not many stories I could tell that made me feel any different than any other kid with two hands.
Right, right. Now, has soccer been the only sport that you've ever played, or was it soccer and tennis, or did you have multiple?
Yeah, so my parents were super athletic growing up. They both played college athletics. My dad played soccer. My mom played basketball in
Okay.
college. So they wanted to put me in as many sports as possible just to see which ones stuck and which ones I could really do. So I did soccer. I did basketball, swimming, tennis, and track. Those were my five main ones I did growing up pretty consistently. Um, it pretty much came down to tennis and soccer. And I didn't stop playing tennis because I had one arm.
Right.
I just had more friends, and I felt as though a team sport was my calling just because I liked having people around me and playing with other people and not having the pressure of it being your fault, just your fault when you missed a
Right.
shot or things like that. So, yeah, I played all five of those sports, but soccer really stuck mainly because, again, my friends and my dad, I'm super close with him. I'm close with both my parents, but I just felt a special bond with my dad, and I knew that he could get me to the next level because he was a really good player and he's a really good coach. So
Right.
that's probably what made my decision final to stick with soccer.
Awesome, awesome. Now, in the Live Different community and with our kids, the one thing that we found to be kind of consistent is there's always that one coach that does not believe in the kid. Did you ever have that one coach?
Yeah, definitely. If you know soccer, you know that it's hard to do throw-ins for someone who doesn't have two hands because it's technically not legal. Quick story: when I was about 13, I had an it was a club game, but it's not like a serious like national championship game. Like it was just an everyday Saturday club game. And I went to do a throw-in, and the ref called it illegal, and I was mortified. So ever since then, I haven't really done throw-ins. And I mean, it is a big part of the game, but it's not necessary to do.
Right.
But, I did have a coach that was like, it's hard to play you at left back because, when there's throw-ins, someone has to switch with you every time. And it was
Right.
like, well, the formation could get messed up because they have to switch with you. And obviously that bugged me. I mean, I understood it, but I'm like, it's a small fix. Like she can play defender, I can play forward anyways. So it was
Right.
like an easy fix back and forth. And it just frustrated me that I couldn't change that situation. And I think that was the biggest part about it is that usually I can take things into my own hand and change the situation. But that's something that I literally could not change. I couldn't change their mind about it, and it frustrated me a lot. It didn't set me apart. They didn't kick me off the team or anything, but just for them telling me that was sort of an issue really like upset me because I know it can change the situation.
Right. Now, another thing that always what we find with our kids is something they struggle with is going out in public, and with their own differences. I know you said you were surrounded by a good support with friends and family and everything, but when you were by yourself out in public, did you ever have that hesitation or that want to hide? But I mean, obviously you're
Yes.
kind of up here, so you kind of you can't really tuck it in your pocket.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Oh yeah. The main story about that was when I went to college because like I said, I went to a small private school. Everyone knew me, so it wasn't a shock to anyone. But when I went to Florida State, which is a massive school, so many kids, I remember going in the dead heat of summer. So it's called Summer C, and it was before fall and all that. And I remember getting there and walking to class, because that's what you do when you're a freshman. I was walking to class and I had a hoodie on because I'm like, oh, well, this will hide it a little bit. But like, it was like 100 degrees out. Like, everyone knew that it was not cold, but I'm like, I would make excuses for myself and I would say, oh, well, because it's so hot outside, they do make it really cold inside. So I'll just bring a jacket and go ahead and put it on just so I don't have to. And that was it just seems so ridiculous, but it's when you're in a new environment, you don't want people to get to know you as a girl with one arm. You want people to get to know you as Carson Pickett or whoever you are. And so that was really hard for me. I had to finally, one of my teammates was like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone has something unique about them. Like, you need to stop wearing a hoodie in the dead heat of summer. You're going to pass out, first off. And she's like, you just don't need to do that. And that changed my mind a little bit, but I was like, it's so easy for someone with two hands or someone with something that no one can visibly see. It's so easy for them to say. But I mean, for the longest time in that summer, I wore a hoodie to class, and because
Right.
I just didn't want people staring at me, because I can see them. Like, when people stare at you, they think that you can't see, and it's like, I can see you staring at me, like, blah blah blah. And it used to bother me a lot. I even went to run on this really busy boardwalk with my parents yesterday, and even then, like, I still had a couple, I was like, oh, here we go. And a couple thoughts of like, oh, it's annoying people seeing me. But obviously I'm much more mature than I was in college, and I've come to the conclusion that, it's just maybe something that they've never seen or experienced, so it's hard to hold it against them.
Right. Did you ever have, because we all come up with our own stories of what happened. Did you ever get to get people?
Yes. Oh, it was like a shark bite, an alligator bite. I mean, there was like a million stories that I said and my parents told me to say when I was younger, just for fun. And people's faces were like, you survived that? I'm like, yeah, I'm just really strong. I can get away from a shark, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's a million stories. And honestly, it was fun. It was fun to tell different stories and things like that, just to see people's reactions.
Yeah, I'll never forget the very first notability camp we had. It was in 2012. We had, maybe not, I think we had 19 people total, and all of our coaches are telling their story of how they were living different. Everybody's telling a different story, and then a coach who has since passed away, who was one of our founding head coaches, Kevin Crafton, gets up there and he goes, I lost my hand making deer sausage on a meat grinder. And everybody's like, oh, that's a really good one. He's like, no, seriously.
Oh my gosh. I was just going to say, wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, and that's really what happened. Like, everybody's like laughing, thinking it's funny. And then like, he's like, no, seriously, that's what happened.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I actually was just thinking like, oh, that's actually really good. I never thought about that.
Exactly. I was like, man, that's a really good one. Whenever he said it, he's like, no, guys, seriously, that's what happened. And at first, we were like, okay, maybe he's just letting it go through the whole camp.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we had to ask his mom, so what was it like when Kevin got in the meat grinder? They're like, oh, it was devastating. We're like, oh, it's real.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I've never heard something like that. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he lost his dominant hand too. So I think he was like 6 or 7 years old when it happened, and
oh my god,
lost his dominant hand, but he bounced back and was an incredible athlete. And so we try and honor his memory at every chance we get, because he was just a super awesome human being. Awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really awesome.
So what would you say was your biggest struggle growing up? Like, what would you say was the one thing that really challenged you as a person, as an athlete? What would you say that would be?
I would say, I think like socially maybe, and again, I had such a good community, but socially you still in the back of your mind always think like I am different. And whether it was, going to a new place with a couple of your friends and meeting some of their friends that didn't know about you and their reaction, I used to like sort of have anxiety about it. I'm like, oh, like I try to hide it as long as possible because I knew they were going to see it, and it was just maybe going to be a topic of discussion. And even little things like playing video games. Like if I was at someone's house who didn't really know me and they were like, do you want to play? It's like an awkward, like they want to ask you, but like they're like, I don't know if you can do it. So I think like socially things like that were probably like the biggest struggle. I mean, I didn't have anything sports wise, so well, not anything that comes to memory sports wise. But so I'd just say socially, of just always it being in the back of your head, like I'm different, and what's going to be the topic? Is my arm going to be the topic of conversation today?
Right.
And I think that was probably the thing that just sort of gave me the most anxiety and made me the most nervous in social situations.
Right. If you could today talk to Carson, who was, growing up younger, like what would you have told her? Like what advice would you have given her? Like, is there anything that you wish that you've learned now that you could have known back then?
I just think that I would tell her that everyone's unique in their own way, and even if it's not visible to people, everyone has something in the back of their mind that they struggle with. So I feel like just be kind is just the biggest thing I can say, because when something's visible, it's easy for people to feel bad for you and things like that. But there's so many things today that I can't see in a person, but maybe mentally they're struggling. And so it's just sort of just be kind to people, and just know that everyone has their own story, and you're not the only person that's different in the world, and stick together with people that are like you, but also people who support you who aren't like you. I think that that's one of the coolest things for me, is that, like I said, everyone has their own story. So if you all stick together and have such a good group around you that continue to inspire you and send you positive messages every now and then, I think that that's probably the biggest thing, is just find a circle that really supports you and loves you. Because that's been something that has helped me. If I have a bad day and someone's maybe made a comment, I know that if I call, the 6 people I think in my circle that will make me feel better, I know they'll be there for me. I know they'll support me. And I just think that's the most important thing, is just love everyone equally. And, even if you don't see them struggling or don't see a limb difference or a person with one arm, something might be going on in their world. So just love them no matter what.
Right. And I saw an article, and the title of the article I really loved, because honestly, it's like I think it's the back of one of our shirts. And it says, use what God gave me. So did you have a faith growing up? Do you have a faith now?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. So, growing up, my parents went to church, and so I got to go to the church really early, and I enjoyed Sunday school with my friends and things like that. So, I was religious back then, but now I feel like I'm so much closer to God, mainly through sports, because, and my parents, obviously, but mainly because I say the biggest thing that I've learned and is that he did this for a reason, or he put me in a situation for a reason. So, maybe I was meant to be a professional soccer player to inspire people, not just because I might be good at kicking a ball hard or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe. And I just remember this specifically used to frustrate me so much in college. So we would have interviewers come every other week, and they'd select a certain group, and I was always in that group, and I'm like, well, this feels good. I was always with the really good players, and they wanted to interview me. And every single time that I got interviewed, they said something about my arm. So, and I was like, why do I have to be known as like a good soccer player, but also the one with one arm? It just used to frustrate me so much. And I remember calling my parents and just crying one day, because I'm like, I just want to be known as a good soccer player. Like, it shouldn't have anything to do with my arm and things like that. So having that happen in college, and having my parents, sit me down and tell me reasons why, I would have that mindset. I'd be like, well, I don't want to do another interview because it's going to be about my arm. That was sort of my mindset before college. And when I got closer to God and things like that, I realized that, he is using me and putting me on a platform for something way bigger than soccer. Absolutely. And every interview that I've done, that I do now with my new mindset, is that maybe this interview will reach someone in another country, or reach someone who's struggling, instead of saying, oh, well, here we go, it's another one arm interview about soccer. And so now it's sort of a mindset of, maybe this interview will reach someone that needs it. So that's sort of in my mindset, and it does have to all do with God. I have a lot of good leaders especially in Orlando. Actually, Lori Burton is a really good family friends with me. She just commented, so I think she's listening, but she's amazing. She led one of our Bible studies this year, and they're a family that means a lot to me. So if she's listening, a big shout out to her, because they're a God-loving family, and they mean a lot to me. So I have a good circle that teaches me more about God and challenges me every day.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. That's the one thing, with, how Nubability developed was truly through the trials of my faith. Like at the time I was being that athlete. I wasn't really being that Christian athlete. I was focusing on more of what God could do for me rather than what I could do for God,
Exactly.
And it was really a cool, looking back at it now, is a really cool transition of what took place, because it was like, it wasn't event after event. It was like you could really see God in every event of your life.
Yes.
He just like, it's like he's waiting there for you. It's like, I'm here. So I'm here whenever, just open up your arms, let me in, And so it was really cool. And that's kind of how Nubability formed, was because I saw kids being held back and not allowed to compete out of fear of failure. And I mean, as well as I do, the Bible says, do not fear, more times than anything else in the world that I know of.
Yeah.
Which is you would think would be common sense. Okay, do not fear.
Exactly. Right?
It's like
yeah.
It's
so easy.
Many times. Yeah, exactly. But when I saw that, I was like, I have to encourage these kids. I have to show them, they can do it. And, us growing up, like you said, being that one-armed athlete or the one-handed athlete, it was something that drove you nuts.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, I to this day, like, people refer to me as the one-handed pitcher from DuQuoin. And I'm like, it's like not the right-handed pitcher from DuQuoin, or the pitcher that went on to play college baseball. No, you're still known as the one-handed pitcher. And before, I hated it, but now it's like, now it is a platform that allows other kids who are going through the same thing to kind of attach to your story and follow you and be able to be motivated by that. And I'm sure for you, you look at Jim Abbott, obviously, as our, that's like the GOAT.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what we call. And then with you and Shaquem Griffin, now you guys are kind of seen as the pillar of leadership in that Lynn Different community, or the ones that kids aspire to be. What does that mean to you to know that, like, when a child is born with with one arm and they want to play soccer, the first person they look up is Carson Pickett?
Yeah, I mean, wow. Actually, no one's ever really put it that way, so that's amazing. It's actually, I feel like I'm a little bit speechless, which I never am. But yeah, I mean, again, that's God working in my life, and I think that, I hope to be a person that everyone looks up to, but especially someone with a limb difference, because I think it just shows that you can sort of do whatever you want. And I think there's so many amazing examples out there, and they don't have to be professionals. There's so many amazing kids that I've met that probably have taught me more than anyone looking at Shaquem's story, or my story. Young kids who have the same thing as me have probably taught me more than anybody else in this world. And I think that it just shows that no matter what is missing on your body, that it's really not missing, and that everything else in your body can be stronger than anybody else's right hand. So hopefully my right hand's stronger than anyone else's right hand, and things like that. But that's how I look at it, is that we just had to fight a little bit more for something that we really wanted to do. And some things just don't come easy when you have one hand. And that's the honest truth. And I think that it's amazing if people think of me and say, I want to be like Carson Pickett, or she inspires me. I mean, it's the most amazing feeling. And I know that there's people out there that I never hear from that I hopefully inspire. But, just going through my messages on Instagram and seeing, hi, I'm from a different country. Like, I've seen you on a news article, things like that. Like, you really inspire me. Things like that mean a lot more to me than anyone knows. It means a lot more to me than someone saying, oh, you're a great soccer player, you inspire me. But now, being more mature, when they say something about my arm, that actually inspires me more and makes my day, just knowing that, there's someone out there that looks up to me, and that loves me for who I am. You know, I'm not perfect, but hopefully I'm setting a good example on and off the field, for anyone who might be struggling and things like that. But yeah, I guess my biggest excitement about that is just knowing that, I am reaching people and I'm reaching new heights. You know, with my picture that went viral, like I never care to be popular. Social media, I'm not obsessed with social media. I'm not like, ooh, what followers do I get today? But when that went viral, it was more about how many people that it reached from different countries that reached out to me. And I think that that was the coolest thing for me, is that, you know, I'm trying to use my platform in the most positive way. And again, like I said, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but hopefully I'm inspiring, anyone who needs it, who might need an extra motivation for the day. And hopefully I'm reaching them.
Yeah, it's crazy how, you know, we tend to lose sight of how good we have it here
Yeah.
compared to, like, if we were born in one of the countries where kids are immediately thrown into orphanages,
Yeah.
or shucked away or hidden away because they're seen as cursed. You know, I had the opportunity, in college, to actually go and pitch in the Dominican Republic,
Wow.
and it was one of the coolest experiences because baseball there is religion. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. I mean, and it's
Sure.
something different. Whereas here, you know, we cheer when something happens. You're like,
Yeah.
yay, you know. No, they're cheering the entire game, and it's the loudest atmosphere. Like, it's the loudest baseball game you'll ever play, and like it's
Wow.
amplified up to like the World Series, you know,
Yeah.
in sound caliber. And I just remember, going, and Coach Coles tells me to warm up, and I go and warm up, and the stands were filled, and you know, I start throwing, and I turn around and I look, and it was like everybody left all of a sudden. I'm like, where'd they all go? And then all of a sudden I start throwing, and my catcher's eyes just go really wide. And I'm like, what's going on? I turned, and then I hear snickering, and I look, and every single person is just up against the fence watching me because they'd
Wow.
never seen
Yeah.
anything like it. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. I was like, am I about to get mugged or jumped or something?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? So I went out on the mound and had a really good outing, and I was the final pitcher to throw. I think it was in the ninth inning. You know, did 1, 2, 3 inning, and they stormed the field and like ripped the jersey off, and you know, took pictures and everything. Like, I felt like a celebrity. Like, it was
Yeah.
really crazy. And I like went up to our translator. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, well, they never see kids like you compete. They're not allowed to compete. You know, they're pushed
Wow.
away. They're shunned. They're outcast. They're put into orphanages. They're not allowed given a chance to be a kid. And I'm like, I want to see these
Mhm.
kids. You know, I want to
Yeah.
be able to go and see these kids. And I had an awesome coach, Coach Carson, who took us to the orphanage, and you saw these kids, and you saw how happy they still were being there with the other kids surrounding them, but you could just tell they wanted to be out there with everyone else. And so, you know,
Wow.
one of my goals for the foundation is to get our camps into those other countries,
Oh,
train the
wow.
kids for like 2 weeks, and then compete against those teams just to earn that respect that I had received there. You know,
Yeah, of
if you
course.
compete, you're going to earn that respect, and you're going to show, you know, that God loves everybody, and God doesn't give you a difference to hinder you. He gives it to use it as a platform to inspire others.
That's amazing. Wow, that's a really amazing story. I can't believe that. That's awesome.
It's
That's
really
really
cool.
good to hear.
Now, what's if you had one country? Have you heard of, like, is there like one country who has like really captured your heart? Like, they've kind of latched onto your story that has really inspired you. Like, I want to get over there. Has there been one of those yet?
I'd say the most different, and probably, I don't know necessarily the most, but I've had a lot of people reach out from like Indonesia.
Yeah.
And that's just not something that, I just wouldn't have thought that. If I'm like, oh, what 5 countries do I think this will reach? Like, that is not one of them that I thought it would reach. And
Right.
I've had multiple people from Indonesia, reach out to me. So, it would be cool one day to sort of go through my messages and write down all the different countries it's reached, just to know that, sort of know that little fact. And I
Right.
think that would be awesome one day, like you said, to take, our efforts, whether it's, with no abilities or anything, and just go to other countries and just meet those kids and meet those, adults even, that never got that experience that we've gotten. So just to hear their story, I think would inspire me more than hearing any story over here, from random people. Like, I think going over there and being in their home I think is something that would be amazing, just because you can sit down and actually listen to them instead of just, writing over social media. Having a face-to-face conversation to me is just so special. So yeah, it would be really cool to go over to those different places that have reached out to me and sort of have different talks with different people, and
Right.
not even do it for, I would, not even to go over there to try and get money or anything, just to literally go over there and listen to people's stories. I think would be so inspiring.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because the one thing that everybody can do, whether they're faith-based, Christian or not, is grow. And
Mm-hmm.
and growth doesn't have to happen with just your story or with just the trials that you go through, but you can grow from others. You can grow
Yeah.
from their experiences, from their advice. That's the I think as athletes and as people, that's one thing that a lot of people fail to do, which is to continue to grow. A lot of
Yeah.
people become content with their life and want to stay kind of stagnant in where they're at, or they're happy with where they're at, and so they don't want to get better, or they don't want to
Yeah.
add anything to it. Whereas one of my favorite quotes, and I said it in a pep talk I just did for Numbability, was by Aeneas Williams, and I'm probably going to butcher the quote. So, but it was something like, "Live with the end in mind and die empty. Go to the grave empty and don't waste anything." Meaning that
Oh,
at some point in our life, everybody's going to be put into the ground, and it's up to us to determine if what goes in that ground has potential left over, or life
wow.
changing experiences left over, or if they gave everything they had to this life. And I feel like as Christians, we're called to be that empty vessel whenever
Yeah,
we're left. And I also feel like as people, we should be that empty vessel, because
of course.
we're called to help everyone else, and that's how our country, how our world will get better each day, is if we really reach out to serve others over ourselves.
Of course. Yeah, I love that quote. That's amazing. I've actually never heard that. So that was
Yeah,
something I have to write down in my notebook to never forget. That's amazing. I
yeah.
really, really like that.
He was, he's, if you haven't watched his football life story, I don't know how you feel about the sport of football or not. I know sometimes soccer doesn't like football, football doesn't like soccer. Um, um, but it was an amazing story. He's a former professional athlete who found God, and actually went on to become a pastor at a church not too far from here. And he's I hope to meet him someday, just for that
Yeah.
one quote, because I use it anytime I go give a talk. I use that quote because it really puts life into perspective. It's like, are you living for now, or are you living for the future?
Yeah.
Are you living for today, or are you living for tomorrow? And
Yeah, of
and
course.
and so it's really crazy. Now, I gotta ask: have you always wanted to be that professional soccer player, like from the time you started, or you're like, has it been pretty?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once I decided that I wanted to do soccer, I knew I wanted to make it to the highest level. I feel like it's hard to, if you're a competitive person, I feel like it's hard to have a dream in mind and then not want to make it.
Right.
So, having a dream to be on the national team and to play professional soccer was something I've always wanted, and something obviously I'm still trying to pursue. But, you know, having played soccer and my whole life, it's opened so many doors for me. And I realized that there's a lot of different dreams out there that I want to do. I mean, I would love to be a college soccer coach. I would love to do public speaking eventually, and just to sort of reach different people and more heights with my story. So, there's so many different things that soccer or professional sports can open doors for you, and I think that
Right.
that's a big one for me, is public speaking. So I think that's something eventually down the road I want to do, and again, might go back and get my master's eventually and things like that, and find different avenues. But I've always wanted to be a sports reporter. That's something that's a big dream of mine. So I have a bunch of dreams, but whatever happens, happens. But for now, yeah, being a professional soccer player is amazing, and it's something that, I love doing each and every day.
Right. What was the point in your life where you realized this is really going to happen? Like, was there like a point, like whenever you got on, was it the scholarship to Florida State? Was it, before that? Like, what was the point where you realized this is really going to happen? I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting different scholarships and different offers to different colleges definitely boost your confidence and things like that. So
Right.
I knew that I was going to play in college, just because I had multiple offers from different colleges. So I knew that that's something that was that was one dream that's going to come true. But um, the thing about professional soccer when I was growing up is that we didn't have a consistent league that was really making it.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I wanted to play soccer in college, but I didn't know if there was going to be a pro league when I got out of college to even be able to play professionally.
Right.
I knew that I could go overseas and play, but to be able to play professionally and live that dream in your own country is like so special. I've played in Australia, and it's amazing to go travel and meet new people and play the sport you love in a different country. But there's just something about being home and being in your own country and living that dream. So I didn't know that there was even going to be a league that was going to be able to pay me and things like that when I was growing up. So when I was in college, the league started to get stronger and stronger. And I saw a couple classes before me get drafted into this league, and people that I trust sort
Mm-hmm.
of made that transition into the pro league. So I'm like, okay, well, it seems to be pretty stable and steady.
Right.
So in college was obviously the time that I realized that, playing professionally soccer in America was something I want to do and something I'm going to do. And that dream will hopefully come true one day. And then again, I got drafted, and each year, soccer is not the biggest sport in America. So each year you're like, hopefully we'll have a league next year and things like that. But right now it's great and it's been amazing. It's been very steady. So yeah, I mean, that dream of playing professional soccer is obviously coming true, but to be able to play it in my own country is definitely really special.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now, I guess this is probably a question you should ask. I was going to ask Orlando Pride or Seattle. Which one did you like living more? Did you like living in Orlando or Seattle, or is that something we need to just throw off the record right now?
No, I can answer that. Because I grew up in Jacksonville, which for people who don't know is only 2 hours away from Florida State, I never really ventured too far away from home. So when I got drafted to Seattle, it was very scary. Felt like I was in a different country and across the country from my family. I'm an only child, so me and my parents are super close. Going to Seattle was a big change, and a lot of different reasons, and for a lot of different reasons. But I loved Seattle. My first year, obviously, I was getting to know the area and getting to know different people. So that was sort of just a transition year. But my second year, I loved it. I fell in love with it. The coffee, the food. Being from Florida, you're just on flat ground and by beaches. Where there, it's like mountains and still get some water. So it's a very eclectic place, I would say, and it's very different than Florida. So I think in that sense, I loved it. The weather was unreal. It was 75 and sunny all throughout summer, which, I heard before I left, it's going to rain all the time. Get ready. And luckily, I was mainly there during summer, and it was the most beautiful place I've ever been in summer. So I don't think it ever got over 80 degrees. But being in Orlando and being closer to home is obviously really amazing for me. Even, growing up, we would go down to a lot of soccer tournaments in Orlando because Disney always hosted a big event.
Right.
And I would only really see that side of Orlando, and I'd only see the theme parks and the soccer field. Like, that's all I knew about Orlando. But, now being older and being able to explore more, Orlando is actually a really amazing place, and it has a lot to offer, especially for young adults. So I think it's hard to compare because they're so different, but I've thoroughly enjoyed living in both places.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that, before this COVID-19, one of the things we had planned on doing, it was kind of going to be like a surprise clinic to everybody because we were just like kind of just starting the planning of it, but was to do a camp actually in Orlando for golf. But heck, who knows? Maybe we added soccer in and
Yes,
create a clinic.
that'd be
So yeah,
amazing.
we're ready for this COVID-19 stuff to be over. How's it impacting your schedule right now? Because I mean, I know you're probably, as a professional athlete, you're used to going to the gym probably
Yeah.
2 to 3 hours a day, maybe 4 hours a day, and then probably going out to the soccer. Is it soccer pitch? Did I say
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
right?
that's
There we
right.
go.
Nice.
I'm learning my terms. Yeah.
I love it.
So I am learning as I go. I feel like my soccer coaches would be very proud of me because when I started this, I I'll just be honest with you. You know, I grew up in a Midwestern town where football was king, and
Hmm.
like even the word soccer was actually considered a sin here in
Oh
Duquoin.
my gosh, yes, wow.
so so
Well,
I'm
you've learned a
learning.
lot.
I'm learning. Yeah. They're eventually going to get me to watch a soccer game. I have a feeling. I just never have. I watched one in college, and I think I was distracted pretty well the entire time. I was dating a girl, so on the soccer team, so it was kind of like,
Yes, well, yeah, you'll have to get a unbiased soccer game.
yeah.
Yeah, come watch a soccer game. Well, maybe you can come watch an Orlando game.
Yeah,
That'd be
absolutely,
amazing.
absolutely. I know we got some kids who have just moved to the Orlando area that have actually talked about trying to figure out how to meet up with you. So maybe we can arrange
Yeah.
that after COVID-19, obviously, because
Yes. Yeah, of
we have
course.
rules. We have rules.
Yes.
But how's it impacting your daily schedule right now? Like, are you still able to do a lot of your training at your house, or what's going on?
Yeah, so luckily, since I live so close, they allowed me to come home and sort of quarantine with my parents. So, obviously playing soccer, you touch a soccer ball a million times a day, where now it's like I'm touching a soccer ball in my backyard. So, that part of it's really different. Having access to a full soccer field is like a dream now. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope one day I can do that again. But so many parks and things are closed that, it's just something that, like us, we've always just had to alter and adjust.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, right now, I mean, I'm doing a lot of work in my backyard. There's not many fields open, and I'm just doing a lot of fitness. Luckily, Orlando's amazing, and they've given us our own GPS, which I say is amazing, but they're watching us very closely. We get our own GPS, and they are tracking every single run, step, everything that we do. So for me, I actually enjoy working out. So
Right.
for me, it hasn't been a massive change. But yeah, I mean, not being able to touch a soccer ball with your friends and get in groups and things like that has been really hard, just because that's what we do every day, and that's like what we love. But
Right.
doing fitness on your own is not something that I can imagine anyone really enjoys and loves. But we're altering, we're adjusting, and right now it's what we have to do to stay fit and ready.
Right. Now, did you have the weights and stuff available at your mom and dad's house, or have you come up with your own weights? I mean, you see all these viral videos of people with like cylinder blocks, and I mean, I'll be honest, I do the truck tire lifts. That's what I'm doing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I mean, luckily my parents are, again, super athletic and they love working out. So I have a lot of really amazing things here, like the Peloton bike and weights and medicine balls and things like that. So I'm really lucky in that sense. But again, Orlando has done a really good job. They've given stationary bikes to all of our team,
Well, that's all.
weights. Yeah, weights if we need them, just to stay in our own apartments. So it's nice to know that you're respected, and that respected, and that you're gonna be ready. I mean, whenever the time comes to get back. And I think that it shows that we're respected because we get everything that the men get. The men got their own stationary bikes and weights, and so all of us have gotten that as well. So I think that that's just shows that Orlando cares about both men and women
Right.
equally. So that's a big step for us, in soccer, but especially in women's sports, is just to know that you're getting everything that the men are getting. So, yeah, I mean, you just have to do your own thing and just hope that you're doing the best you can do and you're ready to go when the time comes.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. Now, so that GPS, can the team actually use that? So, I mean, I don't know if you have that one player, but I feel like every team has that one player who kind of needs that accountability. Are they able to be like message you guys if they see like there's no activity going, like, hey, get
Yeah.
moving?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, at first we started, even at the pro level, like, we're all still humans and we all still need a little push sometimes. So I mean, in the
Right.
beginning, we had our own GPSs, but you could work out any time of day. They switched it because, again, they want to be ready when the time comes. They've switched it to where we have a schedule of pretty much our schedule if we were in Orlando. So they have a wake up, they have a breakfast time, they have a workout time, 10 to 12 every day. It has to be done. So things like that have been probably the biggest change so far, is that they're trying to alter, to make sure that we'll all be ready to get up at 6:30 a.m. instead of sleeping in until 10 when you're sort of on your own? Is that when we get back and it's time to train and practice, is that we'll be ready and we'll have pretty much still been doing the exact same schedule while we're on our own. So they've done a really good job in that sense. But yes, I mean, they can track everything. So there will be messages, I'm sure, from my strength coach to many different players about how they're doing. And there's a weekly update. You have to turn it in every week and get it back. And so, yeah, she sees everything. So, I mean, at this level, you should be doing everything to the best of your abilities and wanting to be ready whenever time comes. But, you know, it's hard. A lot of times, you know, there's days that I don't want to get out here and do my own workout. It's tough. Right. And I think that's been the biggest thing. I've talked to a lot of young club teams and kids, and the coaches are like, can you just explain to them that it's human to not want to work out every single day? Like, it's hard. And it is. Like, even being 26 at a professional level. I mean, some days I don't wake up and be like, oh, I can't wait to work out. There's days that it's a struggle. But I know that I want to be on the field and be ready to play when we get back to it. So.
Absolutely. And I hope our Nubability kids who are watching really take what Carson just said to heart, because basically she just said what Coach Sam has been preaching to you guys this entire time, which is to stay active, because this thing will pass. I mean, it's going to go away at some point in time. And if you're right now just staying content with where you're at, playing video games, staying inside, when sports happen, you're going to be rusty. You're going to have to break off the rust. But if you're continually practicing to get better each day, you're going to come out the gates flying.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that's something I talk to the other kids about, is that if you have two players that are the exact same skill level, you know, whatever the position calls for, exact same height, exact same speed, and there's no gap. You know, what you do in your own time is what makes that gap bigger. So it makes you go above and beyond what they're doing. So anything that you can do in your own time is going to help you in the long run. Is going to help you when you're back and ready to go.
Absolutely. Nub kids, I'm serious. It's working. I keep pointing to the computer, forgetting that that's just a recording.
You guys.
Yeah, you guys. The recording guys, you guys.
Yes.
But what are you guys doing right now? Because, you know, I know with, like, you know, baseball and football, you know, you put in different formations, you put in different situations and everything like that, different plays. What are you guys doing right now to do that? Like, are they sending you guys the updated plays? Like, is coach sending you plays every day to study or anything like that? Or are you guys kind of, you know, they're sending it to you, like, and you're just going through you one-on-one, or how's that working right now?
Yeah, so they've done a really good job with that. Each week we have a set time for a webinar, and they've split us up into, you know, defenders, midfielders, forwards, goalkeepers, and they've split us up into groups. And, you know, for about 30 minutes each week, we'll go through video from last year of things we can get better at and improve. And it's nice because obviously on Zoom and things like that, you can write in the chat. So there's a lot of open conversation about, you know, what could have been better in this situation. And I just think, like you said, it's a time to learn, you know, why we're not spending all this time on the field. It's time that you can learn off the field and try and better yourself by watching film and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, each week we have a webinar that shows us things that we can get better at. And our coaches said that if we wanted to reach out to them individually, we can get any video that you can possibly think of and study that. So they've done a really good job about that, is sort of keep us engaged, not only with working out, but also mentally and off the field, is just continuing to watch us and how we can better ourselves when we get back on the field.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What would you, I had the question, I just forgot it. That happens
to me a lot. Yeah.
I tell you, it's like you get going and you're like, shoot, what was I gonna say?
All the time.
How with that team camaraderie? Because, you know, that's huge with any sport, having that gel of a team. You know, I know with baseball, you know, you want everybody gelling on the same level. So, you know, you even get to the point where your fielders are telling you, you know, speed up a little bit so you keep me in the game, because when you're going slow, that's when I start drifting off. You know, how are you guys keeping up that that camaraderie and that gelling going right now? Like, are you guys doing like like a weekly chat with just the players, or how are you doing that?
Yeah, so two different things. Obviously, all virtual. One of them is every Friday, our strength coach leads a Zumba class. So we're all getting on there, we're dancing and doing things like that. So that to me just shows that you can be in a setting when you're not even face to face and still have a lot of fun and still love each other and things like that. So the Zumba class is really fun. She allows family to join. So my mom's done it every week with me. So I think that that's something that just shows that we can get on there and all just be doing the same thing, even though we're not right next to each other, and still have just as much fun. So that's something we consistently do every Friday. And then our captains this year have just started sort of a happy hour. So, we get on there and everyone just talks about their week and things like that, and just we just have a laugh. And I think that, that's their biggest hope, is that everyone just comes on there. We don't talk about soccer at all. And I think that that's actually super important, because everything when you're a professional soccer player is about soccer. And that's all that, your life revolves around soccer. So it's nice to get on there and just talk as people instead of talk as like teammates and talk about soccer. It's nice to get on there and talk about your personal life and just be ordinary, average people together and just friends off the field.
Right. Wow, we've got several countries in here with us right now, Carson. It looks like we've got Iran, India. Let's see. We got a bunch of Orlando Pride fans. We got Poland.
Nice. Hi, guys.
The UK. Oh, this is really nice. Hey, Carson, my name is Abby, and I have a cerebral palsy. I live in the UK, and the use of one hand, you are my inspiration.
Oh, that's really sweet. Well, thank you. I really appreciate those kind words, and I hope that I can continue to inspire as much as possible.
Let's see if we have any questions on here from people. Let's see. Carson, thank you for inspiring soccer players with disabilities like me. Let's see. You're so inspired. See, I told you, you're inspiring, and they're proving.
Well, I'm sure that they would inspire me if I got to know them.
Oh, remember how what was the country we were talking about earlier that you said that has been like the one that is super grasped onto? Was it Indonesia?
Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah, we've got several from Indonesia on here.
Wow, that's awesome.
This is awesome. Okay, guys, let's do this. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask Miss Carson? Nub campers, is there anybody who wants to ask Miss Carson a question about soccer or anything? I do plan on, if she will do it, we would love to have Carson join us for our virtual platform that we're going to be releasing out to anybody who signs up for it, any limb different kids and their parent who sign up for it. The one thing we're going to do is really try and duplicate what we do at camp, but in a year-long format, because we don't want to take away from what camp gives with that one-on-one coaching, but we want to still attack our athletes in the three areas to develop an athlete, which is that mentality, physicality, nutrition, and then optional for those who are really considering a relationship with Christ, the spirituality.
Yeah.
And be able to really go through and talk. And so one thing we're going to do every Monday of this platform is we're going to have a different speaker come on, different athlete, somebody to provide that athletic mindset training for our kids.
That's awesome. Wow.
And so we would love for you to join us one of those Mondays to be that athlete mindset. And if you wanted to do drills with the kids one time, we'd love for you to walk them through some drills that you did. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, of course. I would love to join that. Anything I can do to help, especially during this time, I would definitely love to. So, yeah, that sounds amazing. That's such a great idea.
Awesome. And I'll definitely be shooting more over that with you. But here, we got some questions, okay? Let's see here what we got. First question is, what's your favorite part about playing with the Pride?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say that there's just so many amazing, I've been on a lot of teams with a lot of awesome athletes, but I would just say that there's a lot of good people in the Pride. And I found a lot of my friends for life on there, and some that have already gone to other teams, unfortunately. In this league, you don't know where you're going to be even tomorrow. So, you just have to sort of get to know everyone and just find the people closest to you. And a couple of my really good friends have gotten traded away from this team, but I know that because we had a couple of years together, that we'll always be friends for life. So I think just the different people that I've met on the Pride is probably the biggest thing that I would say is my favorite part is just getting to know new people and people from different countries and people from America. So there's a lot of different diverse people on the team, and I think that that's amazing.
Okay, let's see. We got a question. I'm guessing this is someone who knows you well. Carson, how hard is it being away from Mackenzie?
Um, I mean, obviously during this time, during isolation, it's hard to be away from anyone. Luckily I'm getting to be close to my parents, so that's exciting for me. But yeah, I miss everyone. I miss a lot of people who. Sorry, I had to go inside. It's a bit cold here in Florida. Yeah, it's hard to be away from different people and different aspects of life. So luckily, we have FaceTime and things like that, and things like this to be able to connect with people. So yeah, so it's been hard, but it's nice again being with my family.
Right. Okay, so looks like someone commented on Facebook, but I think you already addressed that. Maybe you need to address it again. Ability kids have been called for not using both hands when throwing in the ball. Then they said, "Really, Dot? Have you ever been called for that?" And I think earlier you said that, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean when I was 13, sorry, just putting on some pants real
No,
quick.
you're fine.
Um yeah, when I was 13, a referee said that my throw-in was illegal, and ever since then I've just been like completely mortified to throw in a ball.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, my dad's always telling me that, it could be a breakthrough moment for you, and not just for myself but for others who may be nervous about doing things because they have one arm, or nervous about what's going to happen or what people will think. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that, yeah, I mean, obviously, again, I have been called for it, but I think when the time comes and, I get the nerve to do it, I think it'll be obviously a breakthrough moment just to show people that, you could be really scared to do things, but it might be a really positive experience for a lot of other people seeing you do it as well.
Right. Now you were in Seattle the same time Shaquem got there, right? Or was it
No,
a
he was a year after me,
year after?
unfortunately, because um, we were actually, when we went to Orlando, went to play in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had sort of planned to meet up at some point. Not, we didn't personally speak, but a couple people were trying to make that happen, and unfortunately, we just both didn't get the time because we were training and we were only there for 2 days.
Right.
So I hope to do that one day. I think it would be awesome. We're both with Nike now, so I think that would be a really cool experience to be able to do that and meet him.
Absolutely. Okay, here we got another question. Who is one player who you are looking to play with?
Um,
I'm guessing they meant looking forward to play with on there.
yeah. Um, let's see. Let me think about all my different teammates. I would say I really like playing with Emily Van Egmond. She's from Australia. She's similar to me, tactically good, technically good. So I do really like playing with her, and this is going on our second year together with the Pride. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with her, and she got injured at the end of last year, so I'm excited for her to be back.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's see. What is your nationality from Iran? I think IR means Iran, maybe? I don't know.
Um, I think so. I have a little bit of like Cherokee in me, so I think that's really the biggest thing. I'm not very diverse, so I think a little bit of Native American. I got the pigtails in, so
There you go.
I probably look a little bit more than usual, but yeah, Native American.
Okay, here's a good one. What do you do to be more confident on the pitch?
Visualization, actually. My mom and dad have both taught me a lot about that, is seeing yourself do good things on the pitch. So, when I'm about to go cross the ball with my left foot and whip a ball in the game, I see myself before the game doing it perfectly. So, um, yeah, visualization is really big for me. Before games, I like to sit down by myself with no distractions and just think about how the game's going to go. And in my mind, I'm making sure everything is positive and I'm going to do amazing things every single time I touch the ball.
Right, right. Hey, I'm just gonna let you know. It looks like we got a minute and 10 seconds before it goes off live, so we'll have to restart a new one if you're free. Are you
Okay.
still free?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't know that Instagram had a time limit, but I'm looking at my phone and it starts counting down at me. So I'm like,
Oh
okay.
no.
So everybody who's watching right now, do not freak out when this video goes off and start messaging me again. I promise it will go right back up. So just join us back again. We'd love to have you and answer questions, and we'll definitely start with the answering questions. See if we can get one more in there. Okay, let's see. Have you been in the Basque Country?
No.
I don't even know where that's at.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's at, so I don't think so.
Yeah. And then let's see, can we get another one in? Okay. How excited are you for Alex's baby?
Oh, yeah, one of my teammates, Alex Morgan, is having a little baby girl. So I actually just spoke to her today and wished her luck. And she's like, we're impatiently waiting. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy for them and I'm excited to meet the baby when she decides to come. So, yep, really excited.
Awesome. We got 2 seconds and Eric.